Part of the byproduct of making the garden was a lot of clay and rock mix. One great place to use that is in creation of the tractor hill. The slope that's off to the left next to the fence is what the grade was before, and I'm adding to that to make it much more gradual and much more comfortable to back down. So I'm thinking that we had approximately 8 yards of clay rock mix that I put on the slope first, which filled in my wife's former garden. And then I have 5 yards of black dirt that I added to the top before sodding, which I'm doing now. With the software I'm using, when you go to a higher speed like this, you can either keep the audio, which constantly falls behind and just doesn't match at all, or you just unlink it and lose the whole thing. So I guess I should be playing some kind of music or something, but I don't want to do any copyright infringement wrongdoings, so I guess I'll just have to narrate now and then. When I first got the tractor, I did some tests around the property, and one of them was to come up and down this hill that I'm working on. It did okay without any loads or anything, but it was very steep, and of course, if the grass was wet, it would have been out of the question. Another test I did was I put the forklift attachment on, and I had my quick disconnect, that's the assembly that's used when I plow, that's got a little weight to it. And I decided to try that load and back down the hill the way it was, and just to see how bad it was. And the hill was the top of the hill was a little bit uneven too. It had kind of like a crown at the very top, and I had to go right next to the fence because my wife's garden was in the took more than half of the width. So I took that load and I started backing down very slowly because I was afraid what might happen. And then all of a sudden it started teetering on me, and I stuck my hand out on the fence and pushed back, and I thought to myself, did that really happen? And I let go to the fence, and it started turning on me again, tipping. So I pushed myself back, and I went back forward again, and I kind of figured my tipping point, and it was kind of a good education as to what some of the capabilities were. At any rate, that was definitely a defining moment in deciding if I wanted to do this or not. And the other option to get to the backyard is to move my travel trailer out of the way because the neighbor doesn't want me driving on his sidewalk. So this is the only other option. So it was kind of good because that gave me a place to put a lot of this clay and rock mix. I should have had a tamper when I laid down all this dirt to tamp it down afterwards. I didn't have one. My neighbor Tom was nice enough to lend me one when I needed it for the sand coming up here for the garden. But he didn't know I needed one then, and I hate to borrow tools anyway. But I did borrow that from him later on. So anyway, I knew it had to be squashed down, so I took the tractor up and down quite a bit, which is not pictured because the GoPro camera battery died, thank heaven, so you don't have to watch all that. But I spent probably a good hour and a half, 2 hours tamping down with my heel all over the hill, and it seemed to stabilize it pretty well. Now at the making of this video, it's been almost 2 months now since I did this, and it seems to have settled down and doing quite nicely. For those that are thinking about getting a BX, I kind of compare it to a truck in a way. You know, once you have a truck, you never realize how you got along without it. Always something to haul, something to pick up, and it's kind of that way. It's been my experience anyway with the tractor. I knew that I had a lot of things lined up for it, and I'd be using it a lot, but you naturally just come up with things to do, and my back isn't getting any better anyway, so I really appreciate being able to use it. In subsequent videos I'll show you it to move a bunch of lumber, and I think that it would be great for loading up the generator in the truck, for example, and you just dream up things that you can use it for. So it's been really super, and just love it. Well, I much prefer when my wife takes the videos. It captures the tractor action far better, but truth is she just isn't always around to do that. So that's what I have the GoPro for. And actually I call it the bullhead cam. Well, here's the first trip down the hill since we got it completed, and figured about a month was a good amount of time for the grass to seat, and it did indeed seem to work out very well. There was no slippage or anything, and which is always nice. And the grade feels great, far better than it was. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching, and I hope you liked it.